Hey, what's going on, guys? Major League Shooter here. Today I want to talk about a subject that's very important to me because I strongly believe that our ideas shape not just the communities but ourselves as well. A lot of the times, people go into a certain defensive situation and their idea of using the firearm is with the sole intent to quote-unquote shoot to kill, or if you're someone of a softer nature, shooting to wound. In other words, like shooting someone's legs to stop the enemy, the threat, or whatever the situation. And I kind of want to go a little bit further into it and talk about why you shouldn't quote shoot to kill or shoot to wound. The idea of using a firearm in a self-defense situation is to neutralize the threat. Neutralizing the threat does not necessarily mean shooting to kill or shooting to wound. The point of neutralizing the threat is to stop the individual from continuing in committing his violent crime, whether it's someone trying to kill you, rape you, or someone else for that matter as well. Shooting to neutralize the threat. So in other words, if he's coming at you with a gun and he's about to get ready to pull up and shoot you, but you shoot him first, he drops his firearm and is nowhere near to be able to cause you some more bodily harm, then you stop. Now, going a little bit further, people say, why do cops use quote-unquote lethal force? It's the same exact concept when it comes down to the fundamental basics of neutralizing the threat and utilizing lethal force. Now, when you use lethal force, again, there is no intent to kill the person. The intent is for you to be safe as the person, as the defendant, if you will. Now, when you use lethal force, that's not saying, the police officer, for example, pulled out his gun to use lethal force or with the intent to kill you. That's not what it means. It means he's using a level of force that has the potential of killing you because his life is in danger himself. If you go up to a cop with a knife, his life is literally in danger, and he has the Second Amendment constitutional right that everybody else does. So he can protect himself using his firearm, and he is now utilizing lethal force. Now, once again, I can't stress this enough. The intent is not to kill. The intent is not to wound an individual. The intent is solely to neutralize the threat. Now, people always ask, why is it like that? I'm like, well, the intent should never be to take someone's life. Why would you want to take someone's precious life, whether or not he was in the wrong or the right? But if it does happen, let's say you do utilize lethal force to neutralize the threat, and since it is does have the capabilities of being lethal, let's say he does die. Exodus chapter 20 verse 13 says that you shall not commit murder. So even if you look at it through a biblical point of view, why do that? Because if you look deeper into scriptures as well, you can actually see that it's not always the case. Now, yes, you should never commit murder in cold blood or anything like that. It's morally wrong. It's just wrong on every level to commit a murder. But Exodus, just two small little chapters later, Exodus chapter 22 verses 2 and 3 says, and I'm quoting, says, if a thief is found breaking in and he is struck so that he dies, there shall be no guilt for his bloodshed. In verse 3 it goes on to say, if the sun has risen on him, there shall be guilt for his bloodshed. So there's like two contradicting ideas right there, right? But when you actually look deeper into those two scriptures, you can actually see that you can safely assume, since the light is rising, or the sun is rising up on him, you can safely, make the logical understanding or reasoning behind it is that it might be nighttime, and at nighttime it's hard to discern whether or not someone's breaking in to commit a violent crime or just to steal your stuff. In this case, it's talking about a thief. And since it's assuming that it's nighttime, basically what it's saying is, like, if a thief is caught breaking in, you do not know what is going on. You cannot discern whether or not he's there to cause you bodily harm or just to steal your things. He's obviously a thief, but you don't know that. So if he comes and breaks in and you feel threatened, you pull the trigger and he dies, because you logically feel and think that your life is in danger, then and I'm quoting again, there will be no guilt for that person's bloodshed. But now, let's say the sun is out, as it says in verse 3. The sun is out and you can tell that the only thing that the person is trying to do is just steal your things. Then it is now morally wrong to take that individual's life. You're taking away a life when they're not taking away your life, they're just taking some property, which, you know, can be solved by simply just calling the police officers. Now, if I'm inside my house and I hear someone stealing my car outside, the first thing I'm going to do is call the cops. Obviously, I'm going to have my gun on hand while I'm calling the cops, but that's just in case he decides to come in and cause me bodily injury or anything like that. I'm not going to go out there trying to act like I'm Batman, you know, beat him up or whatever, shoot him just because, you know, I can. Not legally, but I can do that, but I'm not going to. But that's only because, you know, that's the point where law enforcement can step in and help you out. And you know, once again, if they break in with their intent, if you can discern and tell from the person's demeanor that he is going to cause you bodily injury or anything like that, then you can exercise the right to defend yourself. So you know, with that being said, you know, you should never, it's the intent. Intent is the key word in this situation, or in these kinds of scenarios, intent. You should not go into a situation with the intent to kill, with the intent to wound. You should always go into a situation with the intent to neutralize the threat using your lethal force. So I hope this kind of, you know, shed some light into the reality of when to shoot or not to shoot. Because just because you're a firearms owner doesn't mean that you're authorized or have the right to pull the trigger. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. God bless you, and God bless America.